should go by whichever side of the house is closest to wherever you're going to put the windmill.
Why are you putting another?
Well, yeah, Chad, you've run into a problem then.
And that's why I just wanted to talk through it and see, am I conflicting? Say,
If you have a farmstead here.
Yeah.
And it's a primary residence.
Okay.
And he owns that section.
Yep.
You have a mile setback. If you add that property line now, you're giving him a mile and a quarter from his property line.
so.
Is that right?
You got that mile radius around all primary residences. So if you're living there, you're protected that mile, correct? Okay, say if there's no residence there,
Okay.
it's just a piece of land that you own, that you still want to protect.
Okay.
Okay, there's no occupied dwellings. From there, we have a quarter mile from the property line that then your neighbor could put up a tower on if you want, so chose to.
You could have the word "or" in there.
Right.
Because on that section of land, say there's no house, is what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Stay a quarter mile away from
Yep.
the property.
For neighbors, I want to put a tower on my land, then I'm just set back a quarter mile off of your land. But there's no residences on either piece.
Can I make a comment? With a quarter mile from property line setbacks, in my personal case, that would preclude any of my property from having a wind tower on it, because all my property is only 40 acres wide.
Yeah.
But are you going to have a variance? For that?
I think we need to define where there is a farmstead where people occasionally live. We've got the primary residence now. How about all the rest of them?
Is
Kyle,
this
got
gonna
anything
include hunters
prolific over there?
Non-primary livable residence.
Stark County refers to it as inhabitable dwelling, is the way they.
I think Burbank has something in there too, inhabitable dwelling.
And that would include power, water.
Hunters? Who?
A habitable dwelling,
Yeah.
right.
So,
Okay, what do you want the setback for those at?
Mile.
I think it should be less. You know, and I like to hear my sense that, don't we give the state any credit here? They've researched this and done this and been there, and they come up with 1,800.
they deserve it.
Well, are we smarter than them? I don't think so. I'm not, at least.
You might be.
I thought we didn't want to specify the amount, we wanted to times the 3 times the height or something. So that goes with the height of the.
We could do that.
So if you don't define the non-primary residence, does it just go back to what the state minimum is?
1,800, right?
Well, 3 times 10 by the tower, we're still up in the air what that is.
Wow. We're not saying anything. So, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I mean, every other yard would be under the state's minimum guidelines. Right. If you don't define.
Oh, sure.
Because you're only
Is
defining
that right?
the primary.
You guys, so if we put nothing in here, it's by the state stuff.
State's gonna require
Okay, state will require 1,800.
3 times 10.
Or 3 times.
Yeah,
10.
3 times, okay. So if it's
So
700,
this
it's
is-
$2,100.
Let's not do anything.
So when it's a non-primary residence, you know, is it 1,800 feet good, is half mile good? Obviously, we want it less than a mile or we wouldn't be defining all this.
Right.
Or it's 3 times the 50. 700 is 21.
More noise.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Another 300.
Whatever, right.
We get less mosquitoes this way.
Yeah.
I don't know why you're worried about us when you got all that out there.
I'm surprised 3 trains haven't gone by yet.
With the setbacks, with the dwelling, do we need to have the with variance in there?
I would suggest that you add the variance.
because we wouldn't want that if they wanna, someone wants to do it and they have a mile that they can.
Correct.
put that- We want that in, that needs to
They
be.
wanna have it close.
Just know that that's not there and we want that.
So with the state setback, is there a variance on that, or is that hard nose, like it's gotta be that 3 times different?
I believe that's for non-participants. So you could just say for non-participants in the project.
With the variance, I mean,
It's basically identical to what the state has.
but yeah, you
Which
should,
means they're not signed up, they haven't.
but if you're non-primary, or if you are primary, and you're willing to sign a variance, that should be in there.
Yeah.
That should go without saying.
That needs to be in there.
Okay.
And go to the next page again. I mean, we changed.
Go to the next page, yeah, yeah.
Right at the end of that paragraph. Optional for every-
The option for a variance is available, so that's in there, Warren.
I just need to get down.
So in the state guidelines, is there any setbacks from churches and cemeteries, or? That's the.
Yes.
Yeah,
We'd
there
have to
is.
look at it, but anything similar to where people gather.
Right, I don't know, do you remember what it is? It's fine. I read it too.
Yeah, I think that's 3 times different.
Oh. So we-
Commercial buildings,
All right.
places of gathering.
Okay, anything else you wanna add? Are we good?
Well, I think that those meter lines, just put the word that they will all be underground.
You guys generally put yours underground? Always. Wow.
I
But
think
that's
all
over
right.
them, so when another wind turbine.
But that's
You
the
need to be
general,
protected.
isn't that the general,
Don't you
Do
want
you
to
wanna
not
be
assume?
protected?
Don't you want to protect?
well,
want
does
us to
this,
sue.
don't beat me up here. You should volunteer.
I'm just saying.
Does the state, what's the state say?
Basically, it's kind of like, they want you underground. I can't remember exactly what it is. No developers lining overhead lines. The only time that ever happens is in a very special circumstance that's the only option. They'll bore under roads, they'll bore under pipelines,
Lakes?
they bore under lakes if they
What?
have to.
Yeah.
Okay. So very rarely would you ever see an overhead line on a current wind project.
We certainly can put it in. That's,
Does that include the line running to the,
That's different,
Transmission
that's
tower?
those are collection lines, that's a generation tie line.
are those buried?
No, that's overhead.
So
We're talking about the collection line.
No, I understand, just want clarification.
So once the wind towers are passed, if they get passed in our county, when does this transmission line come in and does that get approved later then? Cause you're no good without it, right?
Current planning is that it wouldn't be in Wells County.
right. The transmission line, are you tying into an existing one now?
That's right,
It's already there, right?
Yep. That's right.
It's those big ones.
Going
Oh.
south, going south. There's 15 poles snapped out there now. Travel east of that. When that goes south, there's 51 poles knocked off. When that storm hit.
No, not that big.
Not the east-west,
The
north-south.
east, what?
So but they hold it the same deal and hook together.
All right.
Did you wanna add something to twelve point one point three point ten two?
Can't we just say applicant shall place electrical lines, noise collectors underground, done. The rest of that,
Hold on, okay, so
the rest of that,
let me get to that here.
underground and just leave out the rest of that sentence, correct?
Right, that last sentence you could leave, collectors and cables shall be placed within or adjacent to the land necessary for turbine access roads. Wow, that's, if you do that, that's common sense.
Okay, so the applicant shall place electrical lines, stones, collectors, and communication cables underground and located on private property. So we just want to say, and communication cables underground, and leave out the rest. Right?
Yep. Okay. Anything else?
We need a motion. Motion to delete.
Okay, motion to modify 12-1-3-22.
Can we wait, just make a motion on everything we've done?
Well, we made two individual ones.
Okay.
This is the only one we got left, hopefully. Moved by Bob, is there a second? Second, Boone, everybody understand that? Keep them under around. Alright. Anything else?
I understand a lot of these things in here, like,
I need a vote first.
Oh, I'm sorry, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carried.
when the landowners have concerns on roads or any of these other things, it appears that if they cannot reach agreement with the company, their only recourse is to go to court.
Okay.
So they aren't gonna have much success if, or more or less, I mean, they can get run over basically on a lot of these things. Road use arrangements, complaints about construction, land restoration. That's all supposed to be negotiated between the company and the landowner. What if they can't reach an agreement, then forced to go to court, and the landowner on any of these things is probably gonna.
Or eminent domain.
No, I mean, it's just, and the same with the microwave interference here. There's no really enforcement procedure noted in here. I'll say of interference with any of this stuff, satellite signals or anything. I mean, it talks about it in here, and maybe it's not a problem, but if it is, if it takes your guidance and stuff away from it, you probably wouldn't be. I mean,
I
it
think
talks
there's gotta
about
be some trust in looking at historically what other places have done, and that's not been an issue. If there's an issue in Wilton or Langdon or Linton, it would have been brought up by now, wouldn't it? Or the state would have adjusted that. I think you gotta trust some of this, don't you?
Although at easier wildlife incidents, that whooping cranes and so on have more rights than we do, because if they're in the area, they gotta shut down.
I know, that's right, so.
It is.
I know. I know.
But we all have to go further, huh? Moving on.
Anything else? Alright, so we need a public hearing then at 2 weeks to talk about these 3 items of modification, correct?
And we don't wanna change them.
What?
Because if we change them, we have another meeting. I mean, that's why I think we need to leave here tonight, that this document, when we come back,